All right. I like when shows do previously on the Donut Bag.
Yeah.
Previously on the Donut Bag. Back in the preseason, Kenny Pickett looked like if Tom Brady and Joe Montana had a baby. He looked that good in the preseason. It's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so good against the 49ers. We're really gonna give it to them. Oh my God, Super Bowl. And they get destroyed by the 49ers. And then it's just been suck for so long, and it's gotten worse. And we used to have fourth quarter Kenny. Now we don't even have that. And now we're at the point where we're not saying fire Canada, we're saying fire Kenny. It's people have figured it out that it's actually it he's it not that Canada is without blame, but Kenny is the problem.
He's a big part of it. I mean, I still think Canada's the biggest thing to blame, but I mean, because we'll come back to Kenny in a minute, because trust me, there's a lot. But I mean, you saw like Najee Harris was kind of dropping some negative notes, and I'll give the Steelers credit. They don't come out, they're not going all full blown, like, mad, but, they're saying little things, just dropping little hints. Deontay had it out with Mike Tomlin on the sideline yesterday. I mean, there's just cracks in the armor there that never used to be there. Not counting like Antonio Brown or whatever, but it's evident that they're just not getting along. And the one thing you pointed to me, and I was like going ape over this yesterday, was that I actually I don't get to do it as often as I should. Shame on me, but I got to watch the game with my dad, and we were having a good time. But Jalen Warren goes for 74 yards, and then they run 17 plays, and he gets the ball once. Once. He just scored a 74-yard touchdown. They could not stop him yesterday. How the hell do you justify giving him the ball only once? So that's on Matt Canada. But yeah, man, Kenny Pickett it's been regression. And you can think all these things about, oh, it's the offensive line, it's all this. That one play where he spun into a sack yet again. He had Deontay wide open on his left coming across the side. I mean, he had two wide receivers, honestly. He missed open receivers multiple times yesterday. And when your stat line is 15 to 28 for 106 yards and a 62.5 QBR, that's not all Matt Canada. I'm sorry. As much as I do want to see Kenny Pickett succeed, I've been on that bandwagon. I don't want to jump off it just too fast, but there may be no hope now. Unless I still feel, Joe, that he needs. I'd like to see him next year with a different offensive coordinator. To be fair, I mean, maybe not, maybe so. I don't know. Maybe I'm ridiculous for saying that, but it's still the stat that really killed me. I was digging. I thought, let me find something for Joe's show that I haven't seen anywhere else. 315 quarterbacks have with 500 pass attempts since the AFL NFL merger in 1970. Only one has thrown a touchdown pass on fewer than 2% of his attempts, and it's Kenny Pickett. 1.9.
Wow.
So I
Oh,
mean, it's not just like you can't say it's all in Canada. I think Matt Canada needs to go. I'll help him pack his bags. I've talked about it. We'll take him to dinner, take him to Pittsburgh Airport, and then bye. But Kenny Pickett he's not the man. He's not the guy right now. And the only thing, and I know you're part of this bandwagon too. What the hell do we do? We go to Mitch Trubisky? I mean, you'll probably get some more yardage and a touchdown, but you're going to get 2 picks a game
thank
easily.
you.
So you're,
Thank
you're
you.
going to put more pressure on the defense that's already on there. And let's be honest, the Steelers situation, the whole crappy mantra of we don't live in our fears, that came to bite them in their ass, because the fear is if this offense starts to kaputs or it goes against a good offense and can't produce, the defense can only do so much. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. Yeah, some people want to give them crap for, they didn't do their job. What's his name went 4 for 4 on the final drive to set up for the field goal. They were gassed, dude. They've been on the field all day, having to stop them from getting
They
out.
gave up 13 points. That's plenty. That's plenty enough to win.
Yep. You've done your job, and that's the thing. It just finally came back to bite us. How many times have you seen? How are we 6-3? Well, that's how we're 6-3, and now we're 6-4. Hey, we're still in the playoffs right now. It's the playoffs in today. I mean, and you got to give credit to where credit's due on that. But yeah, there's no way you can tell me if we had to play the Chiefs or the Dolphins next week, we're not going to get absolutely annihilated. We might stay close for a little bit, but that second half, they're going to pull away.
Najee's interview was amazing. And it really goes to show something that I think we've never actually seen on a Mike Tomlin team is he might lose the locker room. If you have someone and the thing is, Najee did not, when after a game there is, I don't know, I guess there's a cooling down period. I don't know if they shower then or what, but there is a like a 15-minute, at least a 15-minute period before the reporters can come in. So, which is a good idea because right after a game, I know I didn't want to be interviewed right after that game. I was ready to throw things. But so there's a cooling off period. Then there is, the reporters that go through all the players, and Najee apparently was one of the last people that was interviewed. So he had plenty of time. Everything he said, it wasn't just him, flying off the handle or angry in the moment. He thought about that stuff. And he even said, to paraphrase, the way we've been doing it, yeah, the record is nice, but it's not sustainable. He said what we've all been saying. This is nice that they've won, but it's ridiculous, and it came back to bite them. And oh boy, this is
exactly right.
Crazy.
He did sum up what a lot of us have been saying. This is not sustainable. It's worked in some instances, but you're just, they probably even caught Jacksonville on a little bit of a downturn. Now Jacksonville's kind of getting back to where they need to be. They won convincingly over Tennessee yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. It's really a matter of they need to start coming together at this point. And, people say, well, Kenny's only in his second year. Other guys struggled. No, let me tell you something. You can go back and look. Ben did not struggle like this. He had his bad games. Okay, we know he sucked in Super Bowl 40. He didn't have a great game in Super Bowl 40. Guess what? They still got to the Super Bowl, right? And you know what? You're not going to get there without him being at least a little more than reliable. I mean, yeah, he was surrounded by a great team, had a good defense, had a good, nice offensive line, decent running backs. But he also needed to carry the team. He still was a quarterback. And that's the thing. It's like I think what's happening is people are just losing faith in Kenny. And I don't know how much longer it's going to take. And then I think the aggravation comes from Joe. We know, I guess, I don't know what it is about Pittsburgh, man. Jim Sullivan won't change the power play. He seems to, there's things there he won't do that are just as irritating to me as anything. And Mike Tomlin's the same way. It's like this is the stubborn coaching capital of the world, and it's infuriating.
Extremely stubborn. And I don't know. I mean, this week, if you looked at, if you put it on the graph, belief in Kenny would be okay. But this week it plunged. Like even the people that love him the most that support him even say he needs to go. This is bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like you said, Mitch Trubisky, what are you going to do? What are you going to do there? He's going to make two really good throws and two really dumb throws that are interceptions that screw everything up. There's no in between with that dude.
Yeah, Kenny doesn't throw a lot of interceptions or turn the ball over. I mean, you got to give him credit for that. He's very good at protecting the ball. I don't know how much of his percentage of his throws are really high risk, though. They still have him thrown to the sideline a godly amount of time, never up the middle. You saw Pat Freiermuth for one play yesterday, maybe two. Just a lot of things that just weren't not clicking, man. And that's it, Joe. I mean, okay, I get it. The Browns defense, and we said it. They're an elite defense, probably one of the best defenses in the NFL. He wasn't going to go for 290, 300 yards and 3 touchdowns yesterday. I would have taken 200 and a touchdown. Not what he did yesterday. And I mean, there was just times where he couldn't do the simple things. I think there was a second down where I believe it was in the second quarter. There was a second down where Deontay was wide open. And yeah, Deontay's been having a case of the drop, so he's not exactly Jerry Rice. And then you had Pickens also open the next third down, and he missed. He didn't see both of them, either of them. So I don't know, and maybe that's the thing, Joe. Maybe those guys are seeing something in practice, or they saw something in camp where if he throws across the middle, he's going to get picked off. Maybe they're afraid to have him throw across the middle. I mean, it's glaringly obvious they don't want to throw up the middle of the field. I mean, they're not throwing anything in the middle of the field. Nothing.
He's not accurate at all either. His accuracy is horrible. And you say, if you're inaccurate throwing to the sideline, it just goes into this. It just goes out of bounds. If you're inaccurate over the middle, the safety, it's going right to the safety, and that's an interception.
Right.
I don't know.
It's almost like you don't even see like Patrick Mahomes, right? We're going on there right now, and last I saw was a 7-7 tie. I thought this stat killed me too. There isn't one of his receivers that has over more than 27 catches this year. And that's what he does. He doesn't throw for 480 yards. He just kind of plucks it down there. He gets this guy, that guy. There's no stud, fantasy, must-have receiver on that, Kansas City Chiefs offense. I mean, if you look at fantasy, I don't think maybe a couple of those guys, maybe like Sky Moore, and a couple of those guys went very late.
They're barely on anybody's team.
Like I think Pacheco, the running back, went a little early, but I mean that's it. And Kelsey, obviously, right? But so that's all. I mean, I think they really asked Mahomes to use his athleticism and not make mistakes. And it's like I don't think we're asking Kenny to be Joe Montana, but it's just clearly
hit
not
the
there.
open guy. There's open people.
Yes.
Look for them. I think what happens is he gets scared to death, and regardless, whatever the first read is, boom, it's going there, and it's probably like the easiest thing ever. Just a crappy. How about that play? That pass to Jalen Warren, where there was nobody else except for 3 Browns right in his face. Like, why on earth would you even throw that ball to him?
Yeah, you're gonna get him killed.
It was the most comical thing ever. Like,
yeah, and I don't know. Like, I agree with Najee's frustrations, but then there's still something with the Najee thing too, Joe. Like, he had 12 carries and only got 35 yards out of it. I mean, he had some good carries, some good runs, but it just seems like Jalen hits that hole so much harder. And I don't know what that goes back to, Joe. It just he is. I mean, I thought that's just kind of my opinion these last couple of weeks, but after yesterday, it's clearly evident. Jalen gets that ball and he is gone.
It just looks so much better when Jalen Warren is running because he's not as bulky and he's quicker. I think that's it. Najee Harris would be the perfect running back if you have a fourth quarter lead and you want to wear down the defense. That was like the Steelers and with Jerome Bettis. Like, there you go. It's like, okay, we got the lead. You just give it to Bettis. He gets 3 yards every time. Okay, fine. But we never get the lead because we suck.
Yeah.
But my God, yeah. I mean, Jalen Warren he's just so good. He just and on that final drive, it just drives me nuts. We already brought this up, but he had 9 carries for 129 yards. Even if you take away that 74-yard run, that's 9 carries for like 50 yards, which is like over 5 yards a carry. Only 3 catches on 3 targets. Are you kidding me? Every time he touched the ball, he was awesome, and they didn't give him the ball. That's on coaching. Kenny lost that game, but the coaches lost that too for many reasons.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, we saw Ben have a couple of years there where the OC was questionable, but you have a guy like Ben Roethlisberger or even a guy like a Patrick Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers, and if they had problems with guys, they were able to overcome that, right? I mean, their talent and their ability. And right now, you have an offensive coordinator that's failing his team, and you have a quarterback that's not up to the challenge and is also failing his team. That's a disaster waiting to happen, and it kind of happened this past Sunday. Now, we're a 1-point favorite right now, last I looked, going into Cincinnati. But, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we should beat Cincinnati, but
I'm trying to frame this last game as a good thing, as a slap in the face, because when they were, Tennessee basically sucks, and they barely beat Tennessee, and they easily could have lost that. Packers, they kind of suck too, and they barely beat the Packers, and they easily could have lost that game. Well, now it's come back to haunt them. It's like, well, oh yeah, but we're winning. We're winning. Well, you can't say that now. Now you're losing. So now what? Now what? Against the Bengals, hey, that DTR or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He sucked, but he was good enough to win. He was good enough to do something on that final drive. And on that final drive, before the Browns' final drive, the Steelers had the ball with 2 minutes left. And what do? 3 incomplete passes that take off 15 seconds off the clock. I almost stopped watching right there. It's like, I already know what's going to happen. I know Cleveland's going to drive down and win it, because it's the fourth quarter. Oh my God.
It's what we've seen all year. It's just that we've been very lucky and been able to overcome it. I mean, like, you can go back to what you're saying. It's a really good point. Yeah, you take that first Browns win. If the defense doesn't score 2 touchdowns, that's a loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers just outright kicked our ass. Almost every single one of those games, the Ravens game, and you call this through that week. If the Ravens receivers were catching that ball that day, we don't beat the Ravens.
No.
We could easily be 4-6 right now, or 3-7. We've just had, any idiot that's on Twitter right now saying, well, the defense sucked. The defense doesn't suck. Okay. The defense is the only damn reason that we're in the playoffs right now. They're the only reason. It's not Kenny, it's not coaching. They're about the only thing keeping us in the playoffs. And, you mentioned, Joe, that kid from the Browns. I posted this the other day on Twitter, that Tommy DeVito, who was undrafted for the Giants, going against a decent Redskin or Commanders defense. Not exactly the 46 Bears, but a good Redskins defense. Goes for 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, and has a QBR rating of 137.7. Tommy DeVito, which the last time I know Tommy DeVito is from, a famous movie that obviously rings a bell, But, yeah, I mean, it's I just don't get it. Brock Purdy, who, I think you're always in between on that bandwagon. Is he a guy that's in an offensive system? But I heard something last week I thought was funny. If they didn't draft Kenny Pickett in the first round, forget who they would have drafted. I forget the kid's name. They probably don't get somebody late in that round. They probably would have taken a shot at Brock Purdy, who is Mr. Irrelevant.
Maybe. I think they would have got Malik Willis, which would have been just as bad.
Just as bad. Yeah. I mean, I still would say Kenny Pickett's better than Malik Willis by far.
Yeah.
But Malik Willis, possibly, if he would have been there. But, in that, he had a perfect passer rating yesterday. In the last couple weeks, he's been turning it on again. And that's the thing. And that's okay. He's been kind of down a few weeks. But when he's on, he's really on. And that's what we just haven't seen, a really on Kenny Pickett. Yeah, there's the fourth quarter Kenny thing. I think you posted that yesterday, and I said, yeah, that'd be great. But I want to see fourth quarter Jalen Warren. Fourth quarter Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
You're not giving the ball to Jalen Warren.
You're running effectively all day. Here's an idea. Run the ball. You weren't passing at all. The passing was not working at all, but you were running effectively. So what do? We go away from the thing that we were doing well and do the thing that we were doing horrible at.
Yeah, there was a 3rd and 3 in the third quarter, and what do? They have Kenny Pickett drop back to pass. No, give it to Jalen Warren. I mean, how hard is that to understand? And that's the thing that frustrates me. Tomlin gets called out of that. It's like the first or second reporter asked that question. Do you regret not giving the ball to Jalen Warren more? Do you know why he's asking that? Because that's what you should have done. And that's and what does he say? Well, we don't live in our fears. We're not going to go back. Dude, this is why you fail. Okay, you haven't won a playoff game since 2016. 7 freaking years. Maybe it's time to live in your fears and realize what you're doing isn't working. You're doing enough to just keep your job. It's all you're doing.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
year.
it's just job security. Um, and you know what? When something's not working, realize it's not working, and don't just be stubborn and just insist on doing it, just to insist on being right. How about doing the right thing and actually trying to win the damn game and trying to do something right instead of just proving that you're how right you are.
Yeah, I just don't get it, and that's another. I guess I'm still in that same boat. I'd love to see Mike Tomlin ride off in the sunset. I'd like to see him be able to say to all the naysayers, "Hey, I'm going to win another Super Bowl. My guys, my team, my influence on the team, my philosophy." He's a likable guy. Obviously, players like him for the most part, but this past game, maybe don't like him as much as we think they do. You saw with Deontay. I mean, you have both of your receivers not in a good way. Deontay Johnson yesterday, a couple of weeks ago, it was Pickens, right? Now all of a sudden, Pickens gave a really nice, intelligent answer yesterday. But it was kind of a, just off the cuff, PR answer. I think he would like to have said more, and he has realized he didn't. Because I think, honestly, he's probably sitting there thinking, you know what? I don't want to be a troublemaker guy.
Right. Again, I gotta.
I gotta finish my time here and then go somewhere else because, yeah, I mean, it's glaringly evident now. Had they won yesterday, there's still that mixed emotion, but I mean, I don't know. And you know what they're going to do, Joe? They're probably going to go beat Cincinnati. They
That's
probably
what I'm
will.
thinking. I'm thinking this is a good thing because, well, here, this is something during that Najee interview. He was asked after the game if he thinks everyone on the team has a team first attitude. Very easy softball question. Oh yeah, we all work as a team. We know we're trying to do this team. Blah blah blah. Um, play for the next day. Whatever all those cliches are. He says after a long pause, I'd rather not talk about the team. I'd rather just talk about me, my performance. There is so much that he wants to say. There's so much that he's biting his tongue on.
You're right. And it was a long pause, and he had the facial thing like, like I can say so much right now that I'm not going to say.
The poor PR person was like, please, can we go? Please.
Well, in her defense, their plane activities haven't been good this year. So it's probably like, we want to get on a plane now because there's a good chance we're installed and, wherever the hell we're going to be.
Yeah, before the thing crashes.
Somebody pointed that out too. I remember when they used to ride the team bus to Cleveland. I know that doesn't. You're probably.
It's a 2-hour drive. Get on the damn bus.
You want a bus and have some camaraderie. I mean, that's the thing.
You need a plane to go to Cleveland.
Yeah, this team just doesn't have identity.
You don't even have to take the tolls. You don't even have to take the turnpike.
Right. There were Yinzers there that were halfway home during that interview.
Yeah.
Maybe even got home before any of the Steelers did. But, that's the thing, Joe. It's just I feel like I think they're hitting that point now where they're either going to try to keep coming along as they do, come together as a team, or they're going to fall apart. I have to say that the falling apart thing would not surprise me at this point. And the sad thing is it might help out. You don't want to see it. We don't want to go losing these games because these next two games are very winnable. Bengals and Cardinals. Give me a break. But, yeah, I just don't know. And it's that'll be a thing. Kenny will throw two touchdowns next week, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, see, he's great." I just don't know. I just don't know. Maybe he will throw 2 touchdowns next week and go for 180 yards, but there's just a.
I already know what Tomlin is going to say tomorrow. He's going to say, it's the Browns. The Browns have a good defense. This is AFC North football. That's why Kenny was so bad.
Because the Ravens just put up 31 points against them last week.
Thank you. The Colts put up like 37 points on them a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Don't give me this crap. Kenny flat out lied. They're like, somebody asked him, it's like, hey, you had your wide receivers on single coverage for most of the day. He's like, no, we didn't. No, you're just lying, dude. You want what? You want us to show you all the times you had single coverage? You want us to show you all the times you had wide open dudes? And another thing. There was a pass. The one time he threw it deep to Deontay Johnson, and Deontay Johnson was nowhere near it. That is a clear miscommunication. We're in week 10. How on earth are we still having communication issues between the quarterback and the wide receiver? How on earth is that happening?
Right, and because I know he was out for 6 weeks, but still, I agree with you 100%. And the thing that killed me too, and this was to me very telling, and you could tell, if you know anything about football, and I think you definitely do, and I have, and if you played a little bit, even you could tell they were playing cover, not man, which they normally play. And Kenny was asked about that afterwards, and I kind of wrote that down as something too. He said, "Well, we prepped for them being in man, and then they came out and played cover. So you're telling me that between you and Matt, and I put this more in Canada than I would Kenny, you didn't know what the hell to do? You haven't seen a cover defense
Oh
in your entire life?
no. Oh
I
no.
mean,
They played the other defense. What do we do?
what do we do? Like you can't tell me that we didn't know what to do.
Guys, let's just pack it
We
up.
might as
There's
well
no
go
way we could
home.
possibly stop it. They did something other than what we expected. Oh no.
Right. We might as well go home because I don't know what
Go
to
home,
do.
guys. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We can't they've clearly defeated us. We've oh my goodness.
Yeah, that mentality I don't get either. It's just it's almost like I always think about with the Steelers lately. It's a bad thing to think about, I guess, but it's kind of raunchy comedy. But there's that Family Guy episode where Stewie and Brian they go on one of their Euro trips and they're riding on a double decker bus and they tour through Germany and the German tour guide, they're talking. He goes, why is there no dates from 1940 to 1945? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Move on. It's like nothing's happening here. No,
nothing to see here.
Defense. I mean, it's just like nothing to see here. We don't know. I mean, it's like wow. I just maybe the Yinzer in me needs to get over, trying to love Mike Tomlin and realize how many other people love him and whatnot. I just realize there's a glaring issue here.
That's the funny thing is like up until I mean the narrative has always been Steeler fans are like 50-50 on Mike Tomlin, but like outside of Pittsburgh they all universally love him and say what great coach he is, and they're actually talking about Tomlin being coach of the year this year.
Oh,
and it's and I guess the reasoning for coach of the year is look all that he's overcome, that he has to overcome. Here's one thing they don't mention. He created all those problems.
Yeah, exactly.
He's fixing his own messes. So,
well, it's even like the chinks in the armor I'm talking about too is like on Monday or Tuesday, whatever his press conference was, he came out, he kind of threw a little shade at Broderick Jones for, coming out and saying, well, we're practicing this way now. He's like, he's just a big baby. First of all, okay, maybe he's a big toddler or whatever, but he said it. And
he spoke the truth.
You're doing that. So you just play it off like that. So you mean to tell me that you didn't have the first team running backs practicing with the offensive line? And now so obviously, hey, we were not doing that, which you should have been doing. And you didn't. And you just dismissed that, oh, he's just a big baby or, I mean, again, I think it's just another one of those things, Joe, where like nothing happened here. Look the other way.
Right.
And no, there's things happening here that aren't good enough, that are not right. And I mean, like I said, it's that Pittsburgh mentality. I just don't see the Rooney's doing anything about Tomlin. Just like, they're not going to remove Jim Sullivan because there's no way Malkin or Sydney or Letang want a new coach at this point in their career. So we're stuck with him. And we have a power play that could be killer, but he doesn't want to do anything about it. He doesn't want to switch.
You have the most talented people in the league, and you don't do anything. You don't change one thing because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or whatever. Najee also said there is a lot of stuff that goes around that you guys don't see. Oh man.
Right.
Oh
right. Yep. And it's just like those things. Like I remember a couple of years ago, was it AB that recorded their celebration or something in the locker room?
Right.
And then that kind of got brushed over as quickly as it could, but it happened. And it's just like, I'm not getting into conspiracy theories here, seeing Yetis or whatever Loch Ness Monster in Ohio, but it's just, there just seems to me to be chinks in the armor lately, or pores in the, whatever you want to say, that they're teeter-tottering right now here on, I think, either an epic collapse or they're gonna,
Or
maybe
they're going to come together.
come together.
If
Yeah,
they were smart and if they, let's just be honest with each other instead of, whatever the heck crap they were trying to do, it's clearly not working. If they could come together and just figure out something. And somebody had a suggestion. Um Kenny is actually, maybe it's fourth quarter Kenny that was so good because they were basically doing like a 2-minute offense.
right.
Um so do the 2-minute offense all the time. It's the same thing we had with Ben. When Ben just said, "Screw your stupid plays, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want." Like just do something that works. I mean, I don't blame every single member of that offense for being insanely frustrated. Everyone, the wide receivers, could you imagine doing your job perfectly, getting wide open, and him not even looking at you? Could you
No,
imagine Jalen Warren, who had an awesome day, and it's like when it counts, doesn't get the ball. Like he's like they're going out of their way to piss off every member of that offense, and they've succeeded greatly.
but even when whoever you want to blame, whether it's the players not listening or knowing where they're supposed to be, or it's a coaching thing. I mean, 3 penalties yesterday, two of which they had to take. They had took 3 timeouts, two of which was because they had 12 men on the field. Okay, not as big of a deal in the first week or second week. You can say, well, you're professionals, blah, blah, blah. It's week 10 or week 11.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I mean,
What
really?
are we doing? How
I
do we
mean,
not know how to count?
30 seconds into the first quarter, you're taking a timeout. 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy cow,
There
guys.
was one where Kenny was screaming. I don't know what the heck he was doing, and they actually had to delay a game penalty because they couldn't get the playoff in time.
Yeah,
Come on,
and look,
guys.
in Kenny's defense, you could say, well, maybe it's Deontay that's not studying the playbook and doesn't know, because there was that one throw that Kenny dropped back. He had decent protection, and he fired that ball down the field like he was on a mission. Like I mean, it was going there, and there wasn't anybody within 25 yards of that ball. And that was the thing. Well, that was supposed to be this, and it's like, yeah, man. I mean, it's just
The
I don't know.
the conventional wisdom is when there's a miscommunication, it's usually the wide receiver's fault. But I don't know if that's the case this time. I don't know. I
Yeah, I'll give Kenny the benefit of the doubt on that one. I think you're right about that. It may be on the receivers, but at the same point, like, then maybe sometimes player only meetings are overrated. Maybe at some point someone's got to shut a door, a locker room door, and say, "Hey guys, we're better than this, and if we don't start being better than this, we have two teams coming up where if we can come together and pull our sugar together and get stuff right, we could be, in a decent spot in 2 weeks. These are two winnable teams, beatable teams right now. The Bengals are hurting in more ways than one. Cardinals are just not that good. These are two teams that we should go and beat." And in fairness, Joe, I mean, if I'm going back and looking at our stat sheet, I think you and I and Leanne and Alex, we almost all had them splitting a lot of these games. I thought they'd
right,
split the Browns, and you did
right.
too. But it's just the way that they lost. Like, it was a winnable game yesterday, I felt, for them, and it just, I don't know.
I mean, the next 5 games are easy peasy in theory. You're at the Bengals with their crappy, no good backup quarterback. You're home to the Cardinals, which I don't think that's a gimme at all. Home to the Patriots, who look horrible, at the Colts, and then home to the Bengals again. They're very winnable games, but I guarantee you they're not gonna go. There,
Are they
I maybe 3-2 in these next 5 games, maybe.
That would be, yeah. I think there's talk. Are they bumping them from that Thursday night game, because they really should? I mean, that shouldn't be. It should not be a primetime game. The Patriots and the Steelers. It just should not be.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
no.
God, I don't want to stay up late for that.
I know. Yeah,
I
please,
mean, I
please
will.
change that to Sunday. Yeah.
I will, because it's the Steelers. But I mean, still. I mean, so yeah, Joe. I mean, that's the thing. Like, but I still feel like they get into the playoffs and we're gonna get crushed. I don't know. I just don't know. Um, Kenny
I
needs to
don't
do better, man.
I don't I I don't even care if they make the playoffs and get crushed. I'm just tired of I'm just looking out for me at this point. I'm tired of watching games and just getting so frustrated. And I just put something out there. It's like it's the same thing every single week. And I'm just tired. Just like Najee. I'm tired of this crap.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm tired of it too, Najee.
Let's have Najee on the show. We can all be tired together.
Stop bringing pillows if we're so tired.
There's some jealousy now. That's what I was talking about, that Jacksonville Titans game. Like, Trevor Lawrence went off like a bat out of hell yesterday. He's running. He's like flying in the air. He's running touchdowns in. He's throwing them. He just said, to hell with this. We're going to win this game. They kicked the crap out of Tennessee. And we haven't kicked the crap out of anybody, it seems like, in 3 years. I would kill for the I don't care if it's the Cardinals. The Cardinals come here. Let's beat them 35-10. Please.
I just want a functional offense.
Yeah.
Something resembling an NFL offense where you hit where there's an open receiver and you hit them. Brock Purdy, I'll give him the credit, but a lot of the times just in that system, he's just throwing it to the wide open guy, and good for him for seeing the wide open guy, but Kenny's not seeing that wide open guy. Enough. And if they're holding him back, if they're telling him you're not allowed to throw to the middle, you could only throw to the sideline, and don't you dare throw an interception, and they're just then that's malpractice, and it's not doing anybody any good.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know what the answer is. I have it's a Steelers way. I have a funky feeling they'll be good next week, and Kenny might look good, but I think yesterday's game, because of all the emotions afterwards, the side comments, the kind of the snide remark, not snide remark, they're at a point right now where I think they are, they could either fall apart or come together. And let's see what it is, because I just don't know right now.
They truly are at a crossroads. They really, really are. And yeah. Tomlin's been doing this for what?
18th year?
And he's never lost a room. So, and they've had plenty of crises, in the past. So I will have faith that they'll figure it out somehow, but it's looking really, like you said, it's a crossroads right now. It's wow. There's something that Allison brought up when we talked last week tonight that didn't bring up. They need a team building exercise like going to the strip club. We all take a trip down to the strip club.
Spearmint Rhino, baby.
Spearmint Rhino. It's
the only one I know.
Cover charge be damned. Okay, I don't know. Do people even go to strip clubs anymore? I don't even know.
I remember when I was younger, you'd go because it was just there's cheerleaders. There's that one down there in McKees Rocks, and they did a The Godfather of Pittsburgh. Remember that A&E did the Godfather of Pittsburgh miniseries.
Oh yeah.
It was based on that, but yeah,
there was that strip club. Yeah, that strip club down near the Station Square near the.
That's cheerleaders.
No way.
Cheerleaders is down by
Erotica is at McKees near the McKees Rocks Bridge.
Yep.
But there was another one, or maybe I'm thinking of another reality show.
On the next episode of the Dota Bag, we'll rate the top strip clubs. Might run into Plex in some of them.
Me, I don't know anything about strip clubs. Me also lists off 6 strip clubs off the top of my head. Right. But no, it was about the owner of Club Erotica, but a brother or a cousin or something like that got mad and decided to make his own strip club down near Station Square.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right. That's right.
My strip club experiences. I went to a bachelor party once, and dancer wanted to do a dance, and we talked, and I don't know how we got on the subject of taxes, but she bragged that she decided to start paying to do a tax return, because I guess all that money is under the table, so you don't have to report it to the income. I said, you know what this means? They're just going to look at all those other years you didn't report, and they're going to audit you. And she got mad. So that's my stripper experience. Tax arguing taxes with her.
That's yeah. I mean, that's what you go to strip clubs for, right? And honestly, in Pittsburgh, I imagine, like I said, it's been years since I've been to one. I imagine you go to the strip clubs and talk about the Steelers. I mean, you're like, hey man, what's going on, Najee? What's going on with? Yeah, I know, baby. You know, it's like, I mean, half the strippers on Sundays.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Anyway. She's like dancing on top of you, and you're like, and he threw it Deontay, and Deontay didn't see it. And I don't know if it was Kenny's fault or Deontay's fault. And she's like, would you pay attention to me?
That's the only Joey Bag of Donuts podcast that might be NC-17. Thanks, Allison. We've gone totally off the rails. No, well, and speaking going off the rails, I think that's what they're looking at. Like they maybe they do need to go to Spearmint Rhino or do whatever it is they do.
Some team building activity.
Tour PNC Park. Do something like
go.
Take a tour the private tour of the
Pittsburgh. I'd say an escape room, but if Matt Canada's involved, they would die in that place. They're never escaping.
They'd never make it out.
You'd be like, guys, run into the wall. Just run into the wall. Like, but there's nothing there. Just run into the wall.
Go to the wall. Go to the wall. Wait, yeah, go. No, wait, no. You need to go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
The bye week's already gone, so
that's the thing. This was all supposed to be fixed in the bye week. Remember? We're like, we have all these problems, and after the bye, we're gonna figure them out in this extra week, and then everything will be just fine.
Yeah. No.
Nope.
And that's the thing, Joe. I remember talking to you about being in Latrobe so much this past summer, and Darnell Washington got a few passes, but the thing that was really, he was actually evoking oohs and ahs from the people watching. So he was absolutely putting people on their ass. I mean, he was blocking, crushing, hit his blocks, and yesterday he was getting and again, it was the Browns defense. I'll give you that. But because week 4 he laid some pretty good blocks, but he's getting put on his keister. I mean, there's really nothing working yesterday, and yeah, I think you do chalk that up a little bit to the Browns defense. Gonna give him credit, but at the same time, it's just another one of those games that felt like it was winnable, and the offense just didn't do enough to win the game. And
they started off horrible. That very first drive the Steelers had, that should have been a safety. I have no idea how they didn't call that a safety. Yeah. And that happens immediately. It's like, hey, you're supposed to be good at neutralizing Myles Garrett. That's supposed to be our thing. That like, we don't let Myles Garrett beat us. Well, you did. That defensive line dominated the Steelers offensive line. You start the game that way, and I'll bet like immediately Kenny's like, I'm scared to death. Seeing ghosts.
They have failed to replace Pouncey at center since he's been gone. I mean, again, us being spoiled like in hockey. We've had DeMonte, then we went and we had Jeff Hardings, and we had Webby, and we had all these Pouncey and all these guys. And Mason Cole's a good kid. He's a serviceable center, but he's no all-star. And I sit there and I think, hey, I'll admit it. I mean, it was great to have Muth come in here as a Penn Stater and Penn State alum, but I'd do anything to go back and take Creed from
Creed Humphrey.
Humphrey, because I'm watching, Patrick Mahomes earlier, and he's not running for his life. I mean, he's not, in fact, Kenny really kept them in a game. That one snap was so far to his right. I mean, I don't know how Kenny Pickett had the presence of mind to get his right hand around that quick. The only way I think he knew how to do that, Joe, is it's happened in practice. So he had to have been
yeah, really. It's like,
I mean, like
I've seen this fish before.
Right. So Kenny had a presence of mind because that was going 10 or 12 yards behind, and I don't think they were getting it. So, yeah. I mean, that's hurting them right now. They need a legit number one center. They don't have it. So yeah, I'll give credit where it's due when it's failing, I guess. And the offensive line has been failing a little bit, especially the center position.
We'll see. See. It is very interesting how what happens next week and how this week unfolds Well, we're gonna, we'll hear from Tomlin tomorrow, then we'll hear from the players, and then my God, this stupid Matt Canada. We'll hear whatever stupid things he has to say, but we'll see what's going on. And the
It,
proof is in the pudding. I hate that phrase. I don't know what pudding this is. I don't know why you put proof in pudding, but the proof will be next week when we see how they play and if anything actually happened.
well, and that's the thing, Joe. And right before I know you want to sign off here too, but like there, I think in the history of Tomlin being there, there's never been enough like chinks in the armor, snide remarks, or whatever that like reporters will always go and ask something that was glaringly obvious, and he always able to brush it off. Where he's like, the Teflon Don, right? Nothing sticks to him, like Ronald Reagan or
Yeah,
um, um, John
Capone.
Gotti. But
Yeah,
there was enough in this weekend alone that a reporter could, in a classy way, put like, "What do you make of this? What do you make of that?" And I mean, is he just going to keep, skirting around that? Because it's at some point you just can't anymore. So, like you said, we'll see what happens. But I have a feeling tomorrow's press conference could be a little interesting. I think there's some quote unquote ammunition given.
I hope so. I hope they, the other narrative is, the Yinzer fans are like, you don't ask the hard questions. You need to ask the hard questions of Tomlin. It's like Tomlin's just not going to answer them anyway. But I do think that the reporters do throw softball questions at him, and they could actually ask some hard questions. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
Right.
because yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the emperor has no clothes or whatever? It's like you can't, I don't care how much you deny it. There's something going on.
Yep. And I
So
don't even care if they go so much with what Najee said. I'd want to hear more like, well, why after he goes 74 yards did it take you 16 plays to give him the ball? I'd like to hear why you didn't know how to deal with a cover defense when you prepared for man.
right.
You switched that
Right.
up. I mean, like that's the thing I'd like to hear him legitimately be asked and try to answer. And I
It's
guess they already
it's
did ask him that, and he said we don't live in our fears, which is just
he's
garbage.
gonna say it's AFC North football. They're gonna ask him about what Najee said. He's like, "Oh, Najee said I'm tired of this." He's like, I don't care about that stuff. I didn't even." He'll say, "I didn't even hear those comments. I don't know what you're talking about." Like,
Yep. Yeah.
come on, man. But like we said, the proof is in the pudding. Win
Or the
next week. Win
stuffing.
next week. You're 7-4, and then I don't want to say everything's all right, but it'll be a lot better. Just Al Davis, just win, baby.
Just win.
Just win.
Happy
All right.
Thanksgiving to you, Joe.
Happy Thanksgiving. Get some stuffing. I know you like your stuffing. Mashed potato. I'm a mashed potato guys. I could eat a room full of mashed potatoes, no problem. Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
that's that's my thing. So
All right,
yeah.
Joe.
See you guys.
See ya. Take care.